What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy TraderPrad, and we are back once again with another episode of the Banger TraderPrad Show. And you are here, obviously, to look at everything that the stock market entails, everything that we want to be possibly interested for tomorrow, all the stocks that are moving around, all the stocks that are not moving around. Wait, not the ones that are not moving around. We don't care about those. We only care about the ones that are in play, the ones that are going to be moving around and hopefully are going to give us some opportunities to make some money. So we'll take a look at all those opportunities, some of the earnings movers like GME, Chewy, ChargePoint, Dollar General, some of the other earnings plays that already announced this week and last week, and some of the movers that announced earnings previously and are now at some levels that might be interesting to take a look at. So basically, extremely long watch list as always. We do going to the midway of the week over here. We always end up having a long watch list. But yeah, you know what? We'll stick around. We'll look for all the opportunities, see where the trades are, see where the levels are of interest, and then hopefully we get to make that sweet dollar. Talking about making that sweet dollar, as I promised you that I would end green today, I ended green today. I nearly made everything that I lost yesterday back, nearly to the penny. But then later on in the day, I took some trades where I gave some money back. So I didn't make all the money that I lost yesterday back. But I got to go back to the month on the green side. I got to have a nice little green day again on the book. And I'm excited to see what type of opportunities the market can give us tomorrow. Hopefully you guys got to stay green on the day. If you are, if you started your month green and hopefully you got to stay green. If not, then we'll find those opportunities where we can kind of turn that around for you too, like we did today. I also want to change up the stream format a bit. I feel like, talking about my trades isn't really helping you guys or even of any use to you. I find like I'm going through the chat sometimes off streams, kind of reviewing what you guys are talking about, and it feels like no one really cares for my trades, honestly. So I feel like we're going to kind of remove that segment away from the show over here, and then just keep it straight to charting, keep it straight to idea generation, and then maybe looking at trades that took place on the day, kind of catalog them, playbook them, and then have that memory bank built up for us, so the next time we see those opportunities, we get to trade those opportunities. And then instead of looking at my trades on the day, we're going to kind of fill in that time slot with some sort of educational segment where we'll probably watch an S&P Capital video, or we'll keep on building our playbook, or specifically my playbook. We'll keep building my playbook and expanding on that. So we'll try to fill that time slot with something else. And if you guys have anything fun in mind for something that you guys want me to take a look at in terms of stock, or some idea or tool that you guys want me to take a look at, feel free to throw it in the chat. Maybe we can learn about that together. So we're going to once again remove showing my trades on the day. I feel like that part is not really useful to you guys, but if you guys want me to bring that back, feel free to let me know. I can bring that back. I do have my trade screenshots, and I do have a bunch of notes along with those screenshots, so we'll bring it back if you guys feel like it was helping you. Today, what happened with the market? I mean, man, QQQ sold off quite a bit. I'm looking at down 0.5% on the day for the QQQ. The S&P 500 also sold off down 0.4 on the day, but still stuck in those ranges on the both these baskets. S&P 500 still above 453, and the QQQ basket still above the 383 area. So nothing really to be too worried, in my opinion, for the markets. Kind of people are screaming doomsday already. Hey, is the market topped out? Is the market going down? The market's really heavy. This, that, this. In my opinion, we are only... How far away are we on the QQQ from all-time highs? Like 20, $30-ish from all-time highs. So that's not really a spot to be screaming doomsday events on the market. So I'm not really ready to be bearish yet on the market. However, the market did dump off today, taking a bunch of stocks to the downside, and there were a lot of positions actually that did not care what the market was doing and launched off to the north side, and we got to capitalize on those trades for ourselves. Some of those trades were NIO. I had an NIO long. I had a GitLab short, which I kind of screwed up for myself. Then I flipped long on GitLab for some reason, and I got hurt on that. Sentinel 1. You guys brought up Sentinel 1 to my watch list. I did end up doing that research last night, and the research was the stock was getting bought out was a rumor. That rumor was the thing that kind of hurt me the last time the stock announced earnings. But today we took the long on Sentinel on the hold of, I believe, $22 or so, and we got to enjoy the longs over there. I can't remember if it was 22 or 23. Yeah, right in front of $22. Got to build into the long over there and pretty much ride the stock all the way up into 24. It was a fun ride on Sentinel. We enjoyed that one. Looking at the chat over here, TH is in the chat. What's up, TH? There's almost a unanimous consensus. Take some profits here just in case. Unanimous consensus for the market topping up. Is that what you're trying to bring up, TH? I guess. I mean, no one ever went broke taking profits, right? Yeah, almost. You gotta take profits, especially with how far the market has moved up from where it was from the start of the year to where we are now. Also, I mean, there is a consensus that the rates are going to start going lower. So there's a little bit of that hanging around in the market. I guess we're just waiting to see until the next FOMC day, which is let me quickly pull up the page over here. The next FOMC date is on 13th of December. Next Wednesday? I didn't know that. All right, so next Wednesday we got FOMC coming up, and according to that, we'll wait and see, what the prediction tool's predicting. Are they expecting a rate hike? Are they expecting a rate pause still? Are they expecting a rate cut? So a lot of things over here for us to talk about going into the FOMC next week. All of that we'll kind of talk more in depth starting next week on Monday. But yeah, a lot of things over here to stay prepared for. I guess that's what the market is waiting, kind of just trading sideways in this channel in the higher end of the 52-week chart, trading in the higher end of the range as we are just waiting to see what would happen going into the FOMC event on 13th of December at 2 o'clock. And then obviously Powell comes on mics at 2:30. Why don't we get straight into the next segment over here, ladies and gentlemen. After the welcome and the hello and whatnot, we're gonna straight up dive into the wonderful watch list that we have prepared for ourselves to be interested in tomorrow. So let's pull up the watch list. Let's also transition into the full screen. As you guys can see, a long watch list. So no time to waste over here. Let's get started. The first stock on the board is going to be AI, C3 AI. We know how much of a hype all these AI stocks have been recently, so pretty interested to see how this position moves tomorrow. I'm just deleting some of these lines over here. I'm gonna repaint all of these positions for myself, not positions, sorry, all of these lines based on more recent price action. And the more recent price action that I'm talking about is that high into 31.83, that low right there, and then we kind of got a wick low over here to the downside near 27-ish or so, kind of ignoring that wick low at the moment. Looking at the earnings report, it looks like EPS was beat. They did report a narrower loss, narrower loss than expected, but they also didn't make as much money as they were expected to make. So a little bit of a mixed report over here on AI. I'm expecting the stock to kind of be within these ranges, within $21 and $32, because it was a mixed report. Obviously, how the guidance is also matters very much. So if we did not see the guidance, we won't really be able to get the full picture. And according to that guidance and the full picture, looks like the move is a little bit lower than that area we were just looking at into $28. Where's the second green line 28 come from? I didn't put that 28 line. Oh, okay. So there's like another line somewhere in the green side right there. Oh, no, I didn't mean to delete that. I meant to delete you. Get rid of that line. We don't want you there. I'm interested in that 28. Obviously that 28 breaking now with the earnings report, taking it much lower, throwing in quickly an earnings anchored VWAP for myself. Earnings, and that is currently coming in around $27. We have that beautiful range low at 28. We've seen how that wick low on the daily chart was right around $27, and the stock is basically rejecting that $27 area. So anywhere from 27.30 into 28, I'm basically expecting the stock to show us some good resistances for us to build into the short on any sort of pops, allowing us to look for a short trade to the downside into this $25 area, 25.50, maybe even lower than that into $25 flat. And then we have this beautiful 50, is that the 52-week low? That's not the 52-week low, but we have a beautiful flat bottom right here into $23.30 or so, 23.40, going all the way as low as 23.30. So 23.40 into 23.30. Actually, I'm going to do this instead. You guys know how I like to do this, so let's do that real quick. We're going to draw a box, and then we're going to throw some lines on top of the box. That way the lines actually show up. And now we're interested in that whole box from 23.27 to 23.45. See how the stock behaves in that low if we are already in that price point off the open. If we're not in that price point off the open and we're somewhere down here near 25 to 25.60s, then you kind of maybe want to wait and see what the stock actually does. A break of or a rejection of this area could give you a nice move to the downside, but you're kind of expecting a big wall of buying to show up in a 50-cent move down. So shorting this area isn't really that. It's a coin flip, basically, right? It's a coin flip where the stock could easily pop up 50 cents or pop down 50 cents. So it's basically a gamble here. The risk to reward also goes to shit. In my opinion, if I'm getting short here, I kind of most likely will let the stock go up to these ranges to see what it does over there before I get stopped out. And if I'm going long over here, I kind of will have to wait to see what the stock does all the way down over here if it does go down there. So the trade's not really cheap at all by any means. It's a very expensive trade, taking the trade in the middle of this range. So I'd rather wait for the pop into $28 all the way from 27 to 28 in this whole range. Like, I would love to see you know, some sort of walls being built in, a nice little bearish pattern, some sort of we actually playbooked this today, so let's pull up that playbook, go to chart patterns. If we go to chart pattern, some sort of a descending triangle into that price point, maybe a symmetrical triangle, we can take that breakout, a pennant of some sort, a bear flag, maybe a double top of some sort, any type of chart pattern that can form in this $27 to $28 area. We could look to kind of use that as an entry point and then see if the stock has a move straight into this low range of $23 or so. As for inflection, we're going to put down that $25 area as inflection. And we have this 23.25 to, did not put 25, 23.25 to 23.45 area. I guess you could just say 50 in that case, where AI kind of could find support overall on the way down. As for, okay, yeah, so that's what we put down. Now for notes, looking to get short on any pops into $28. Not making a decision at 25 unless there is a clear-cut short pattern. Not shorting 24 because 23.50/23 could show up as a wall of support. Okay, wall of support. Holding of 23 to 23.50 could give longs. So those are all the notes. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Those are all the notes. Can I just do this? Kind of expand it. That way I don't have to have that big of a box for AI. Getting all the notes ready, all the basic trade plans, what kind of situations and how I want to position for myself. If situation A happens, then I'm going to react by doing this. If situation B happens, I'm going to react by doing that. So kind of having all scenarios mapped out for the not really all. For the short side on the higher end of the ranges and for the long side on the lower end of the ranges, kind of getting ready to see what happens for those opportunities. Could give a long, but failure to hold and selling under here opens up a lot of room downside. Okay, next stock. Goes to obviously our amazing thumbnail on the day, Ryan Cohen. Someone tweeted today. Let me go to that tweet. Hilarious tweet. Shout out to Michael Noss. Shout out to Michael Noss for highlighting this tweet. Absolutely hilarious. What a handsome looking gentleman. There it is. So this guy tweets Trajectory is up, always has been, always will be. GME Pirates, salute, eyes, rocket ship to the north side. If you click this link takes you to a weekly chart of GME, and it has done nothing but go down. It has done nothing but go down. And you know what? I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I gave the stock a benefit of the doubt. I thought, you know, maybe off the earnings report it goes up. Nope, we're plummeting. We're plummeting off the earnings report, straight to the downside. A little bit of a mixed report, as you guys just saw. Let's quickly mark that up as earnings. A little bit of a mixed report, as you see. They did report profitable compared to expected negative. They were expecting about 8 cents negative, and they reported basically 0 cents. They reported a little bit less revenue being made this quarter than also estimates. Not sure what the guidance is. We could obviously take a look at the guidance, but the price action is basically all that I care about. And the price action is showing you downside today, downside after hours, and that could just mean more downside going into the future. Let's actually see where that anchored VWAP comes from. That one kind of comes from the last earnings report. Not really, so we'll just delete that bad boy. Where does this come from? We'll delete that one too, because we don't need you. We don't need two of them. Some event happened here, obviously, on that day where we anchored it, but we don't. That's why we put notes. I don't have notes in there for that one, so we're gonna ignore it. Anyways, looking for some levels over here on GME. Let's get rid of some of our old lines that we have. We can leave these ones because those ones obviously are not coming into play ever. But let's put down the lines that we might be interested based on more recent price action over here on this stock. Just going to mark up. Oh, what the hell is that? Didn't mean to do that. Just going to mark up that high over there. And then we obviously have this nice little flat bottom. This is a little bit of a descending wedge. Isn't that a descending wedge? No, I guess it's just a wedge. No, it's not a freaking wedge. Yeah, wouldn't this be a descending triangle, a flat bottom, and then descending triangle? Technically should be breaking down. Oh, you broke up. But I guess the thing about these chart patterns are they can break out either direction, right? It can break out to the downside, it can break out to the upside. Accordingly to this, it's supposed to break down, and that's why chart patterns don't always work. But you can trade this breakout to the either side. You could take that breakout and then you can have your stop here, or you could take this breakout and have your stop over here, and your expected profitability is basically the width of this range, which is about what is that? That's about $1.92. So if you were expecting this breakout from here, $1.92 would take you about right there, and then you would have made your risk to reward basically, or 1 times your risk, and then 2 times your risk, and 3 times your risk, whatever you want to use as your exits. However, we're not kind of talking about this at the moment. We're talking about this bottom, that level, and off the earnings report, I'm expecting the stock to most likely have plummeted into that 1183. Let's go check out. Oh, it didn't. We're still well above 1183, surprisingly enough, and we're still above 1355. Kind of already forgot where that 13. Okay, that 1355 comes from here. We're over here. We're in between these two ranges, kind of waiting for a gap fill, I guess. We're in between those two ranges, looking to see if the stock can have a gap fill. A little bit of a mixed report. I'm not too bullish about this stock. You guys know me. Whatever happened on this day for the stock brought in a lot of volume over there the next day. So whatever happened this day brought in a lot of volume next day, and then we kind of consolidated in this range. Obviously, we broke down. Now we're waiting to see for the gap close, and the failure to hold 1350, I guess, brings in more shorts. So currently, we're waiting to see if 1350 can hold for support. If that can't hold, the next stop to the downside is basically $12 or 1180. And for the resistances to the upside, we got 1430. Up to 1450, and then the next resistance after that one kind of near $16. And as for the inflection point, I think I basically want to see what happens at 1430 area, because if the stock is holding above 1430 after the earnings report, that kind of negates our whole thesis of to the short side to the downside. It could just open up more room to the north side on GME at the point where we're laughing about even being bearish on the stock, and we're kind of being forced into going long on this garbage company. So it is what it is. We're gonna hate it, but we're gonna do it because we love making money. So we're gonna see if those opportunities show up. If the stock do not short. Okay, never mind. There we go. Four kind of ideas for GME, kind of mapping out what we want to do and what we not want to do with the stock based on what prices get offered to us on the silver platter tomorrow morning. Next stock, ladies and gentlemen, Chewy, another Ryan Cohen stock. I don't know if it's still a Ryan Cohen stock or not, but another stock which was previously, I guess, run by Ryan Cohen, so obviously a little interesting. Earnings report looks dead. We are losing money. We are not making enough money on this quarter for Chewy, so most likely a big down move over here. Yeah, big down move all the way back into the 52-week lows, looks like, for the most part. So if we were to throw a line right down there, 1653, are we right back into 1653? No, we're not, but we're pretty much $1 away or 50 cents away from that area. We're into $17 right now, and in my opinion, if this stock, the only level now we're interested to see is that 1650. What does the stock do going into 1650? I don't know if 17 is an inflection. Not shorting 17. Waiting for selling under 1650 to short, or a hold of 1650 to get long. What the hell is this? Go give me Chewy back. Chewy! No, how does Chewy sound, guys? I can't even do it. I can't even do it. Oh. Wait, I gotta listen to Chewy's voice. Why can I not make Chewy's voice? What the hell? Yeah, no, I just sound like a pig getting you know what. So I'll just stop at that one. Clip it and ship it, chat. Clip it and ship it. Anyways, Chewy, straight to the downside. That's the sound that it's making as it's plummeting. There you go. That's the sound that Chewy is actually making while it's plummeting. Let's throw in the earnings anchored VWAP. That one's at exactly 4 o'clock. I kind of don't like that. I'm gonna put this one at 1605 instead. Maybe. I'm gonna put it at 1605 instead, and then label it as earnings. And then now we're kind of preparing for it. Let's time to put some notes in our trades over here. Obviously, we just put in how we don't want to be shorting 17 because it can walk into support at 1650, and if the stock is back above 1750 and holding above 1750, that kind of probably doesn't mean anything because the earnings anchored VWAP is at 1780. Earnings anchored VWAP is a 1780. What are we doing there? Yeah, I kind of don't want to make a decision into 17 into 18 at all. Maybe if I can just do this real quick. Where's today's VWAP? Today's VWAP is at $19. Where's yesterday's VWAP? Oh, that's not yesterday. This is yesterday. Yesterday's VWAP is at 1875. So I guess I kind of don't want to be really doing anything in 17. If the stock is above 17 and holding 17, maybe we could think for longs kind of into 1650 area. And you know what? No, I'm just waiting at 1650 or $19. That's it. That's it. I don't give a shit. I'm not trading in the middle. I'm not. The next stock, ChargePoint. This one didn't really do anything apparently in the after hours, just kind of stayed dead, no volume in the after hours. So is it even worth talking about? Off a quick glance over here, EPS not looking too hot, revenue not looking too hot, missed on both of those points over there for ChargePoint, and obviously stuck in a nice little box at the moment. So maybe a little interested in what the stock does. If we are back into $1.80, yeah, $1.80, or if we are going into 220, kind of interesting to see what the stock does. If we do break out of 220, opens up some room to the downside, and if we go back under 118, I think that's a new all-time low at that point, and more downside. Then the stock probably also goes into SSR mode by dropping 10% or more. So that's a little bit of a question. Kind of want to maybe go long on the stock around this $1.75 area instead, and if the $1.75 area doesn't hold, then kind of just wait near $1, because I expect the stock to hold above $1 in my opinion. So wait and see. Could look for SSR longs off the open if stock opens into 170. Is that 7180s and holds, but failure to hold this could give shorts to $1. If stock is holding 180 and you missed the long, just wait to see what happens at 220. Have to color Chewy, I believe. Chewy's worth, nah, Chewy, we're gonna kind of put it on a blue color. It's not as priority as some of these other stocks, so Chewy goes on the blue. These AI, GME, ChargePoint for now go into red color, or orange color technically, just indicating a higher priority for me tomorrow. Let's see if Dollar General makes the same cut or not. Dollar General, however, will be decided if it makes the cut or not based on pre-market action, because the stock has not yet announced earnings, along with another stock over here, which is, oh, is that the only one? Is that the only one? that I'm looking at for tomorrow? I guess so. Yeah, that's the only one that I'm interested in for tomorrow's earnings. Here are some other stocks, however, if you are looking to expand your watch list for stocks that are announcing earnings tomorrow: pre-market, Dollar General, Sienna, Liquidity Services, SecureWorks, Methode Electronics, Hooker. Hey, yo, who you calling a hooker, dog? GMS, Gypsum Management and Supply. Gypsum. Okay. So obviously some other stocks over here. Tomorrow after hours, we got Broadcom, Lululemon, DocuSign, and Restoration Hardware. They now go by just RH. So come by tomorrow after hours for the last stream of the week, and also to take a look at all these other amazing stocks to talk about. So that's for tomorrow. However, tomorrow, pre-market, Dollar General. So taking a quick look at Dollar General, DG, you can kind of look at what DLTR has done with its earnings report. DLTR has basically popped up. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised. Lost for words over here, because I remember shorting the stock on the day of. So however, even after shorting it, I guess because the market's been on a little bit of a nice rally to the north side, Dollar Tree joining that party, going to the north side over here, almost back to $131, even on a negative earnings report. DG, I'm not expecting anything different. I'm expecting a negative earnings report, and I'm expecting DG to kind of bring down Dollar Tree along with it. But let's say we are wrong. Let's say we are absolutely wrong. The stock is exactly at the 100 period, which is the period is 1 day. It's at the 100 period EMA at the moment, near $135. Let's say I'm wrong and the earnings report pre-market comes out good. The stock could easily go above 140 and start looking to close the gap into 150. So that opens up a good trading opportunity for us that we cannot ignore. So Dollar General, look to see what happens into 139/140. We can kind of look for that breakout to the north side if the stock is already above 139 and near 140 off the open, because that opens up a good amount of room into the north side. But if this 139/140 area has a little bit of a wall off the pre-market, even off of good earnings report, we're kind of trapping the longs here and looking to sell off, then obviously you know what to do with that trade. Get ready to enjoy the shorts to the downside move. Currently we have a little bit of a holding pattern near 135. You can see also the 100 period EMA is near 135. 100 EMA on daily is at 135. Could act as support if stock opens near 139 and flushes down. If stock is opening and running into 139/140, could look for a gap close / breakout trade. If stock rejecting 139/140, could look for a short back down to 135. And then the rest of the levels we kind of have to come up with on the fly based on what the stock does in pre-market. So not going to expand on that, but I do think the stock will be on a higher level tier watch list for us. And Dollar Tree, I might just have to leave this one on the white shade, kind of indicating it's on a lower level priority than even what's the stock over here, than Chewy, because it doesn't really have its own catalyst. It has had its catalyst. Yeah, it's making a decent move, and it has a very similar replicative move to Dollar Tree, where if it does break out of this 130/145, we can maybe see a little bit of a move to the north side. But the stock that doesn't really have the catalyst behind it, usually they break and they trap and they pull back, whereas the one with the catalyst, they break and they keep on going, at least for that day in specific. So Dollar Tree gives you a better trade for the short side if you are interested to only short these stocks. So someone like me who's already kind of bearish based on what Dollar Tree already announced, I might just trade Dollar Tree to the downside around this 130/145 if Dollar General is near 130 and 140 and just keeps on launching up. So kind of looking for that one. Looking for a sympathy pull up to R1 if DG reports good, but expecting a failed break of this level to set up a nice short. However, if stock is showing support above 131.45, DG is well above 140, maybe just stay away from shorts. Come on, dude. What the hell is going on? Okay, and for supports for Dollar Tree, I guess that flat bottom into 125.50. Hello? And for the infliction, I really don't know. But I think this one can go into the blue scale because we're going to have a lot of white trades over here to the downside, which don't really matter to us too much. They're not really day 2 plays. They're not really day 3 plays. They're kind of day 5, day 6, day 10, day 15 plays. So not really too interested over there. So we'll come up with some of the more not really too interested trades later on, but these ones I think are pretty important and kind of worthy to keep eyes on it. And the next few stocks that actually belong in that basket also have announced earnings today / yesterday after hours. So today pre-market / yesterday after hours, MongoDB being one of that few stocks. Actually, we were very bullish for MongoDB, if you guys remember. This was our expectation on MongoDB, and it was kind of playing that out, right? We held this area, we got up, but then the pattern completely failed. We got back down over here, and then we started trading to the downside. That helped me stay away on my own bias. I guess if I wasn't ready to go long, because what I was expecting on the stock, and guys, this actually, guys and girls, this actually helps you with your trading. You know, TradingView is such an amazing tool. Kind of draw out what you're expecting for the stocks that you're interested to trade, and if it's not doing that, then maybe it gives you a little bit of a confidence to kind of stay away from the trade or size down on the trade or take the other side. But more importantly, when the stock is doing exactly what you expect it to do, that gives you more confidence to size up, take more size, put more risk on the table. And obviously more risk equals more Raris, baby. Obviously drive those Raris into the ocean and ruin them, kill those cars, because that's what Ferraris belong in the garbage dump. MDB, MongoDB. So pretty perfect leveling, I guess, or charting by me. We nailed this quadruple bottom, 1 2 3 4, right around that 400 area, specifically 398.92. If you want me to zoom in a little bit more, I mean, can I be a little bit more perfect than that? That's picture perfect quadruple bottom over here that we nailed. I don't even need to hit it, do I? Okay, fine, I'll hit it and I'll delete it right away. Didn't want to be that annoying guy who you guys watch on stream all the time, you know, hitting those emojis. So I didn't want to be that annoying guy, but sometimes for entertainment value you have to do it. But over here, as you guys can see, that quadruple bottom breaking and then going right into another level that we have mapped out. So wonderful moves to the downside. Supports are getting tested. Now the question is, what happens in this support area of 384.50 to 386 on MongoDB? Expecting a little bit of support to come in and a nice little bounce back up to the north side. I will not be surprised if the stock breaks below today's low, tests this area, and then pops back above today's low, kind of trapping the shorts, and then pulling back up to the north side. I will not be surprised by that. So be ready for any sort of shakeout, makeout, breakout happening around this 384.50 lows. 384.50 to 386. Resistance is basically 397.50 to 399. I'll just say 400 as for my resistance. And now we're just waiting to see what the stock does in this range for tomorrow. A little bit of minor importance, not as important as these Dollar General and so on. It is a day 2 trade, obviously, so maybe we can use some of the today's VWAP and yesterday's VWAP to kind of see help us situate where the stock could give us some possible trades off of. So we'll throw that one down there. It should be the anchored VWAP from earnings, obviously, so that's around $403, and yesterday's VWAP comes in right around 409, which I don't think the stock even goes to. I just don't think the stock goes to there. But however, we're interested in this 400, and then we're interested in this 385 zones on MongoDB. So let's make some plans around it. Expecting stock to break yesterday's low, go into the support and trap shorts, then reclaim yesterday's low. If this happens, could start long into the support and add on the reclamation of yesterday's low of price, or what was that? What's yesterday's low? 387.30. Yesterday's low slash close. So the close is 42 and the low is 37. So reclamation, is that even a freaking word? I guess so. Reclamation. I guess so. Yeah, okay. Reclamation of that level could help you add to those longs over there. If stock clearly weak under 384.50, could think for more shorts. Okay, and then look for rejects of 400s to get short. There we go. TOL, I think this one actually ends up being in the white basket. Very, very light volume. We did get long on this stock today near the $90 area. It held VWAP quite a bit into the $90, so we got 90, but then the 91 was an absolute wall. The stock was not able to get out of 91, so right around over here is where I punched out of my trade for about a 50-cent winner, and I just walked away from it. Was expecting 91 to break. Would have been amazing for that to go, but just did not happen. However, the stock did pull all the way back into the previous 52-week high of 88.70s and held that 88.70s and didn't really push too much lower. As you guys can see, today's low 88.79, previous 52-week high of 88.70. I give it the whole range of 88.25 to 88.70. Let's just say, because of how low volume the stock is and how spready it could be, 88 to 89 as a support, and you got all the way as $91 as your resistance. I'm not gonna say $90. 90 is now your inflection. Don't trade near 90. Wait to see if stock can continue to hold 88/89 to think for longs. If stock rejects 91 again, could try a short, but probably staying away from shorts because of good ER yesterday. Low volume equals low priority. Bang. Same with play, low volume, low priority. I don't think I even want to be charting this position, honestly. However, the stock brought in a decent amount of volume today and a big monster candle, and that monster candle is showing you nothing but a solid rejection right around previous rejection areas. So look at that. Good earnings report pre-market, I guess somewhat flat-ish, and the stock originally popped up right into that resistance. I mean, wow, right to the penny, rejecting that previous high on play. However, the stock did not probably have a lot of volume off the open. What was that? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 90. Yeah, it's only 100,000 shares traded at this time. That's more than the stock obviously does on a normal basis. But still, at 10 o'clock, it's only traded 100,000 shares according to my math. Right? So play, however, today brought in good amount of R-vol, rejected that previous high perfectly. I think we're going to expect that rejection one more time if we do pop into these areas ever. I'm actually going to remove this line for myself and do this box, and that way we can kind of be prepared to see what the stock does in that whole range. We've seen this range reject already, and then we've seen that high get rejected previously and again today. So any pops into 46.88, yeah, 46.88 to 47.30. Look for rejections over there. As for supports, I think this area should be holding up as a support. Somewhere into 43 should be holding up as a support. Today's low was 42.70, 43, and then I'll put 41.50 after that. I guess 42 after that. Could hold up as a support. Once again, low volume, low prio. If stock rejects 40, 46, 88 / 47.30, could get short. Low prio, however. Next up, Asana. We talked about how we used this product before multiple times and so on. I actually tried to, if I remember accurately, tried to short this 20, but I traded like an absolute idiot. And I paid the price for it. However, if I did trade it properly, the short was the right idea into the $20. We were talking about that yesterday. It did pop up above 20, but nice little head and shoulders. Beautiful head and shoulders. Kind of what Affirm did too today. Affirm made a beautiful head and shoulders, and Neil pulled off a beautiful short on said head and shoulders. Let's go talk about this trade from Papa Neil real quick. I don't know why I called him Papa. He's not my father, but I thought the playbook calls for waiting time of at least 169 days and a minimum drop of 20. Yields curve steepening, rate cut 6 month and -20 in order to think about re-entering. The plan going forward is to wait for the initial rate cut. I guess he's talking about his own trades of some sort. But let's go to Neil. Ah, that's what it is. I was like, did I get banned by Neil or something? Because I remember seeing this position today. There you go. So he started off shorting this area, lost, but once the head and shoulders came in, got that beautiful short back, and then rode it back to the downside. So that's exactly what this stock looks like today on Asana. Kind of seeing it right now. Hindsight 2020 always. Wished I recognized it at that moment. It also got back under the earnings VWAP and then rejected earnings VWAP, and right back to the downside we go. So looks like that $20 area is still an absolute wall on this stock. This stock also deserves to get colored into the orange basket, because tomorrow will be day 2 play. Any moves back into this earnings anchored VWAP of $20, I'm expecting some rejections to come back $20, and then we do have that support to the downside right around, what is it, 1850, 1860. Why did I put that? I want to put that 1850 to 1860, and then we have our rejections of 20. So let's just see what happens. Expecting stock to reject 20, so shorting any pops into this price. Keep in mind yesterday's high was 2050s. Was it? Yeah, 2050s. If stock already under 1850 and holding under, could use this area to get short for a move to 17s. Okay, next up, Box. I kind of didn't even trade Box today, but Box did give you that failed breakout of that 52-week low, which is what we were talking about. Let's zoom out over here, show you the chart on the 52-week scale. It gave you that failed breakout and got above 24. If you guys were watching my stream yesterday, we clearly put something in our notes. If the stock is holding above 24, stay away from the shorts. There is no more shorts for us on this hold of 24, and the stock actually did that right off the open. We marched back above 24. I guess you could say pre-market, right into pre-market, march back above 24, and then drop, hold, run it right back to the north side. So all of that move right there kept me away from the shorts. I was ready, trust me, I was so ready to short the stock, but the move it did in pre-market was basically showing me their hand. They showed me their hand, and that kept me away from the shorts. However, we did say we could have shorted possibly 25. The stock never went into 25 at all. It did reject the lower end of that range that we had mapped out, which happened to be 24.50s, and stayed to the downside overall. So now that the stock is closed under 24, we're seeing that 24 area come back into play. Now it gets a little bit interesting. We did not push into 25. Bearish. If we pushed into 25, it's not as bearish in my opinion. So we did not push into 25, not as bearish. We're actually rejecting the lower line or lower area. I guess we could kind of even delete this box and just leave those two lines in there separately, right? So we're rejecting this lower line already near 24.50s, so we can kind of put that one as our resistance. It's no longer 25s. Today's high is now the new resistance, 24.50, 24.60s. And for the support, you're still dealing with this range low and the 52-week low. So you still got somewhere all the way from 24 into 23.50 to kind of keep your eyes peeled for. So I'm just going to put 23.50 and put our pivot point back into as 24. If stock can stay under 23.50, could get short, but holding this price again means just stay away. If stock clearly rejecting 24, maybe could think for shorts, but I want to wait near 24.50s instead. If entering a short 24 on some pattern signal, be ready to risk to yesterday's highs. So box, I think I'm gonna actually put this one on a little bit of a higher prio. It's not gonna be white, it's not gonna be blue, it's actually gonna go into the orange basket, because I do think the stock could end up giving us some clean trades tomorrow based on however the pre-market action is and so on, and how the stocks ends up giving us some trades. I think there'll be some good moves in these ranges, maybe a little muted, who knows. I don't know the future, I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, but based on how it traded today, a little bit of a doji candle, kind of telling you an indecision candle, stuck into the midpoint of 24, which is the inflection point that we're interested in. So I'm interested to see on the higher end of that today's candle, rejection, lower end of today's candle, support, or vice versa, higher end of today's candle, more support, lower end of today's candle, more rejection, giving us a trade. 4 basic ideas on 2 different price points. I like those setups. Next up on board, Sentinel 1, ladies and gentlemen, S. Let's see what type of trades S can give us. S gave us a monster trade today off that 22 hold. It didn't even push into 22, but we started off that trade somewhere over here, added on the break of 23, because 23 had about, if I remember accurately, like 4,000 lots, which is 40,000 shares or 400,000 shares. 4,000 lots, add 2 zeros, 400,000 shares sitting on the $23 area. So I took the break out of 23, the stock broke out, giving you a beautiful move into $24. Somewhere around $24 is where I basically punched out of this position, capturing a beautiful move up north. But as we have these levels mapped out and we're seeing the stock basically struggle into these levels, now the question is, what type of trading opportunities do set up tomorrow? I do still think we're kind of waiting to see if the support of 20 22 comes back into play, so I'm still waiting for that 22 support. As for resistance, we're still waiting to see what happens into this 24. Today's high, I guess, 24.50 to 24.70. Why again 2470? Yeah, right there, that 2470 area. I guess you could just say 25 in general, right? 25, kind of waiting to see if this whole range can reject, and if that range doesn't reject, you're looking for a bigger move north side on this position. Quick reminder though, the stock usually dies down on volume, like all stocks. Like all stocks, dies down on volume after reporting earnings, and so does the range and the volatility in said position. So expecting a bigger move on the day 2 after earnings will be a little ridiculous. For example, look at this. Second day, pretty much inside day 1. Second day, pretty much inside day 1. And second day, pretty much inside day 1. So expecting a little bit of bigger move than today's candle, you probably are smoking some good drugs, and whatever drugs those are, send them my way, because I would love to be on them too. But this one, I don't see it going too much further. So keep that levels mapped out and be ready to trade within those ranges for yourself. Sentinel 1 kind of going on the blue color maybe for me, because I think there's bigger trades, bigger volatile opportunities being presented tomorrow, and S might just not be that one, but it still gives you a good trading opportunity, something that you should not possibly ignore this one. CPB, I think I made a big mistake ignoring the stock today because of the boomer notion that the stock has, and I missed out on a bigger move, right? So part of that blame honestly probably comes to my manager, because my manager has traumatized me from taking such good trades. Anytime I take such good trades, he calls me the boomer TraderPrad, and kind of makes me hate myself. So I'm gonna blame him for this one. However, the stock, you know, traded picture perfectly, held that previous price point that we mapped out last night, held that price point to the dollar, to the penny, and then pushed up. And now we're waiting to see what happens in this kind of range over here on Campbell Soup. However, same kind of idea stands over here for Campbell Soup, or not Soup, I guess, yeah, Campbell Soup Company, that's the company's name, for Campbell Soup as Sentinel 1. The day 2 trade, 90% of the time, is stuck inside the day 1's candle, so I'm not expecting a bigger move above 43.75 and 44. So if the stock is into those prices, oh, come on, dude. 44, oh, that's the support. That's not the support that we want. That's the resistance. So if we are into these prices, if stock can show selling into, can get short. If holding above these prices, can think about longs, but not expecting a big move up. As for supports, I guess I'm still waiting all the way back down over here. I don't think the stock goes all the way down there. The 100 period EMA is around 42.50. I think that level kind of comes into play a little bit, that 42.50 area. We also got the earnings anchored VWAP, which is basically today's VWAP, around $43. So I'm expecting somewhere around 42.50 to 43, hold up, and right there you saw that 43.30 was today's low, and the daily chart is showing you that 43.30 is actually the 100 period EMA. So somewhere around 42, 43.30 and $43, sorry, 42.30 and $43. I expect the stock to not go much lower than that, and not really even go all the way back into 41.50 to test support. So I'm going to leave the support column empty, because this is the only price level that I'm interested to make a trade off. See what it does in this price. Are you rejecting? Are you holding? And I want to only trade from there. Store, 100% getting removed from the watch list. Before we say that, let's go take a look at the chart. 100% getting removed from the watch list. Delete. And we're going to remove it from this one too. Very, very light volume, ladies and gentlemen. Just not exciting to trade a position that does no volume. Such a high price position also for something that does such light volume. Nasty spread. You're not going to be able to take a lot of size. And if you do, you'll get caught off guard. Even if you do take a lot of size and you're in the right direction, you're not going to be able to get out of that position properly without the stock making leaps and bounds to the north side, where if you were in the dollar profit, once you start profiting, once you start taking covers, your dollar winner is most likely now only a 50-cent winner. So it ruins your risk to reward ratios, and B, makes you lose a lot of time with extra slippage when you are losing. So it just doesn't seem like an interesting stock to kind of keep on watch. So just going to walk away from here, and I'm going to do a quick little sports betting tracking. So while I do that, I'm going to throw you guys onto a quick little sponsor. So don't go anywhere. Come right back after the sponsor. Hey, you there. Yeah, you with the Manscaped shirt. Are you tired of decoding the stock market? Are you looking like this guy, always lost after every single day? Well, look no further. Today, we got a brand new offer for you from TraderSync. This software will help you identify exactly where you're losing, where you're winning, and how to maximize your profits. Use code PRAD15 at the checkout. If you start journaling your trades, you will start trading better, and you will start looking like this guy. So what are you waiting for? Go on out there, go get yourself a TraderSync discount, use code PRAD15, and they also have a Black Friday sale going on with 65% off. Don't be late. All right, welcome back. So let's get the party started one more time over here. We got Thor out of the watch list. So the next stock on board is GitLab. You guys know how much I love GitLab. Today we actually executed a near picture perfect short off GitLab. I mean, that $62 area that we had mapped out, we shorted that, but sadly I kind of shook myself out of that trade. I only took a 40-cent winner, and then I flipped into a long. I got burnt on the long, and then I kept trying the longs multiple times. I just kept getting burnt. I just kept playing with fire again and again. And I just kept getting burnt again and again. So it wasn't fun donating a little bit of my profits back on the day with GitLab, especially on a stock that I love so much. But now that we've learned our mistakes, we've got our hands burnt. Now the question is, what type of trading opportunity set up for tomorrow? GitLab is still holding above 60 and showing some good support above 60. So that's a level that we could be interested in. The stock, look at how much of a decrease on the relative volume drop down. The opening volume for the stock yesterday on earnings day itself, look at what the opening volume was. 160,000 shares on the 5-minute candle. The opening volume the day before, 23,000. Opening volume today, 34,000. So that's the relative volume idea that I'm talking about. The stock is dying down big time, right? Dying down right after earnings. So not expecting a big volatile move, and not expecting a clean trade either, because it's going to be a little choppy. So be careful when trading this position tomorrow. However, I'm interested in that 60 and that $62 area, and this one goes on our setup B, which is blue color. Setup B for GitLab. Next stock on board, NIO. This one also goes kind of on setup B, I guess, because of how it traded later on in the day. If this stock was really bullish enough and how it traded above $8, in my opinion, we should not have come back down to 750 and traded near 750, which was basically the opening long that I had. I had the 760 long. I took it all the way into $8. I enjoyed my ride today on NIO, my second most profitable trade, but then it should not have gone all the way back down into this range, that range which is between $8 and $7 on the daily chart. That looks like a little bit of a failed breakout. So all of this information combined over here, I'm kind of putting NIO now on the blue basket over here, kind of on the secondary trades list. As long as we still see support, I guess, above 750, that is good enough for me to kind of look for the longs, but we still have that little bit of a wall into $8, and then the second wall into $8.30, and then $9 to the north side. Is that $8.30? Wow, really? Let me see what that price is. Yeah, $8.40, $8.30. Where does that line even come from? Yeah, right. That one comes all the way from there. That one's a little bogus line. Remove that bogus line. Put this one instead. And then we'll put this one over here. We'll remove these two lines. I kind of want to remove this one too, honestly. Yeah, remove the old bogus lines and kind of just put down new lines because some of these lines don't matter anymore. I don't know what this red line is. Get rid of that garbage. Put that one down there. So that's our 7. We got our 750 in this range, which we already know. That's that 820. That's that 850. That's that 920. So if for any reason we can actually get above 850, I guess that's the trade right there. If we can get above 850, then maybe there's a move to 9. But if we can't get above 850 or 830, then there is no room above 9. What's today's high? 830. All right. SJM kind of not really that important right now until SJM goes into 200. We did try to go into 200 today, but nothing really happened. Didn't really execute on this trade either, but that 115 area is coming back into play. So maybe if we had our eyes, oh, come on, you're joking. Picture perfect. Held the 2-day VWAP, held, where's the earnings VWAP? Hello? Sometimes these things just disappear and it annoys the crap out of me. However, so the earnings VWAP, came down, held the 2-day VWAP, got back above yesterday's VWAP, held yesterday's VWAP, and then obviously reclaimed today's VWAP and then just traded to the north side. Struggled into that 118, 119 area. In my opinion, we're just waiting for that 120. SJM 115, beautiful hold of that support, and we're just waiting to see if that area can continue to hold. It's going to be a white trade for me over here, or sorry, a white basket stock because it's not as high of a priority. We're just going to put down that 120 as a possible resistance for SJM. It's also losing volume. Actually, it's not losing as much volume as I thought it would, so it's not doing that bad. Okay, the next stock over here, Pat looks like it basically wants to go back to $22. So we'll just put down 22. Oh, not 122. 22 for something to keep an eye open for. 22 obviously comes from here. So let's see if the 22 area can get tested one more time for some supports. And I don't really want to be doing anything near 23. So I'll just wait near 22. And for the pops, you can see already how the stock is kind of struggling into 24 and then 25. So you could use that as an area to trade. This one goes on the blue basket as long as it is. Ooh, nope. Blue. My boy blue basket. If stock can hold 22, could look for longs, not interested in any other price. HA, I know you guys don't care about HA, so we'll move on from that. Wow, Uber with a 3% pop today. I did not trade Uber at all, was not looking at it. That looks like a nice little VWAP pinch. For those of you who have that book, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where one VWAP and another VWAP, where the stock trades between those two VWAPs and then eventually breaks out. I can actually show you an example over here. It's in my playbooks, so I can show you that right there. Look at that. Anchor to earnings. So previous earnings anchored VWAP, new earnings anchored VWAP. You're seeing support off of the previous one. You're seeing resistance off the new one. And then when the stock actually breaks out from one of these anchored VWAPs, you can enter. You can enter on this breakout, kind of have a stop into the high of this area. Maybe you're entering here, have the stop right above here in the 368.50s. Is that the QQQs? Right, kind of have a stop above over here, and you got a nice little move to the downside as you're seeing the sellers are still in control after the buyers getting wiped out. So this is the buyers' pressure, this is their sellers' pressure. The buyers and the sellers are fighting in this range at the moment. Eventually one of them dies out and the sellers are in power. So that's what the anchored VWAP pinch setup kind of gives you, and Uber basically traded within that setup. For those of you interested to kind of expand your playbooks, expand your brain size. Some of you might just be smooth brained over there. I'm trying to unpolish that brain and put some wrinkles in there, right? Put some wrinkles in for yourself, put some wrinkles in for myself, and look for them trading opportunities. That being said, Uber, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this bad boy tomorrow. I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. It is good to see that the stock has reclaimed the news anchored VWAP, the S&P 500 ad news. So as long as we continue to stay above these price points, I guess there's some sort of a long over here. I guess that support is right at yesterday's low near $57, $58. I guess the support is around 58. You want to see 58 holding, not really going under 58, and you want to see the stock above 60. I guess that 61.50 that we have mapped out, where does that come from? Yeah. There we go. There we go. If under 58, no longs, color blue. Oh my god, why do we still have so many stocks? I'm kind of done, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even want to chart anymore. We have so many trades and levels mapped out already. Is it even needed to be talking about the rest of these positions? I'm being lazy. Prad, that's it. Because you recognize you're being lazy. 1,500 push-ups today. No, I'm joking. I'm not doing that many push-ups. But let's continue looking at the stocks over here. Carvana, not doing as much volume as it did originally, but it's dying down a little bit. Still holding in this range. I guess that support of that 36.50 still something to keep an eye out for. And for resistance, we still got that high-end room to the north side, probably not coming into play anytime soon, so we can walk away from that one. Ulta Beauty, ooh, you actually broke out. Did we have levels mapped out on Ulta yesterday? I think we kind of cheaped out on that one. Yeah, we kind of cheaped out on that one, and now we're paying the price on it because that broke out cleanly and is getting ready to go play with the higher level of 500. So Ulta, 500, color blue. Carvana goes color blue too, honestly. UPST. This one was very much in play today because it actually broke out of that level of $35, sorry, the 35 breakout, giving you a nice little $2, $2.50 move up north, but then not too much room after that, kind of just stalling out and getting right back under 35. So tomorrow, if maybe we can get another trade off that 35 area, after 35 we have kind of today's high around 37.50, and then we have the next high in this range. Do I not have levels mapped out for that range? I do. So that's around 38. So let's say 39 to 39.50. The next range over here for the upside on Upstart. As for supports, you're looking... I think the stock should not technically go under today's VWAP or yesterday's VWAP, but the fact that we're already under today's VWAP kind of negates that whole thesis. So as for tomorrow's move, we kind of should not be going under yesterday's VWAP, so that should be... We're under it. We're under it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this one now. I think, if we do pop into yesterday's VWAP and reject, that happens to be the exact price point that we're kind of keeping our eyes out for, that $35 price point. So that could kind of negate our long thesis to the north side. Right? That $35 price point. That's our first resistance, as you guys can see we're talking about. But if we do reclaim, the 2-day VWAP, then we are walking into yesterday's VWAP, which could act as a resistance too, right around $36. So this is not looking that good for the long side. I think I'm just going to leave Upstart on the white scale. It's also not a stock that I put from my own watch list. It's a stock that my manager was trading today. He gave us all a bunch of shit for not taking this trade. I mean, come on, there were way better trades out there. There were other stocks with actual catalysts and reasons to take a look at. Not sure why Upstart was on his watch list, but we heard it. We heard how we should have been trading the stock, and we missed out on that trade, sadly. Yeah, I'm not sure why he had this on his watch list. I guess maybe he had some sort of an alert. Because how else are you picking up Upstart on a day like today when there's a million other stocks to keep on your watch list? So I'm guessing he had some sort of an alert on the break of this area that triggered, made him look at the stock, and then he started looking for the trade on it. He caught it, so obviously now I'm going to keep it on my watch list, kind of see if the same area comes into play. But today's move, that's a inverted hammer. That indicates downside. So I'm expecting that 85 resistance to come in. Blue color. I was going to leave it white, but I think shorts into these areas kind of sounds good. Snowflake, what are you doing? Ooh, Snowflake, you're kind of dying down on me. You're gonna have to be on the white chart now. Snowflake, as you guys can see, we still have that alert. This is how he caught Upstart, right? This is how he caught Upstart. Have that alert, let that alert trigger for you, and then you can kind of pull it up, kind of study. Maybe you can catch the dips when the dips are getting bought back, or kind of look for some pattern to get into. And right now looks like we might have to move that alert to the downside because Snowflake is actually pushing right back into that 182, 180 area to look for some supports. Is that low 180? Picture perfect 180, baby. So we got 182 to 182. Let's just do 180 to 182.50 on Snowflake to kind of look for the supports to get built in. Look for supports in front of 180. Blue color. CRM. CRM not looking good for the long side at all, but at least it's holding above the earnings anchored VWAP on the daily chart right now as the volume's dying down and the stock's actually not pushing too much further to the downside. It means that sellers or short sellers are currently trying to bully the stock down, but there is not actual real selling in the stock, which means people who are long are not punching out. People are not taking profits. They're not worried about their position at the moment. So the stock is actually not worrisome at all on the swing term scale. So in that side, I am not really looking to short this stock, but based on how the stock popped up and kind of popped right back down, or not popped, dropped right back down, this kills the whole long idea, but it doesn't really establish a short idea. This kind of just means let the stock trade, do its thing, and then come back to it after some consolidation. So CRM, white stock it is. PVH, we've talked about how the stock has been making some crazy moves, and now we might just have to let it kind of trade around a little bit before we look for some trades. PVH is doing exactly that. We called that out yesterday, and see how today's move was a little bit muted compared to what the stock has been doing for the last few days. So that call out was pretty much perfect on that side. Still not ready to make any sort of a real trade over here on PVH. I'm going to let the stock settle around, and then we can come back to it. PDD, the next one, I guess you're kind of waiting to see what happens around this 147, 148 area for PDD. We're bouncing off the earnings anchored VWAP still. That's pretty good. But right around over here, we kind of got some room going into what, 150-ish or so? Yeah, right there. What's that area? 152.50. So I guess I'm just going to wait at 152.50. Is that 152.50? No, it's just 152 actually. Yeah, it's just 152. So 152 could give some shorts. CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike actually broke out. Oh yeah, I remember that. We also heard about this stock quite a bit today. We also heard about GME today. Our manager ripped us apart today. It was fun. It was a lot of fun getting ripped apart. And give me a second, chat. I'm just gonna quickly check my sports betting again. But CrowdStrike, yeah, CrowdStrike did break out, pushed up, came back down, and kind of just stalled around into this 240, 230 area. Sorry, 235 area. So as for tomorrow, I mean, it broke out at 240, held 240, and gave you another trade off of that. So if you missed the original TraderPrad, you could have caught it later on instead of bitching about it. So, hey, missed out on that one. I didn't even pull up the stock. I'll be honest with you. I did not even pull up the stock. Did not care for it. Did not care for it at all, mate. Come on, Trey Young. You're only at 15 points, you garbage player. Jesus Christ, Trey Young. You're so bad. You're so bad. How do you get paid millions of dollars and you only have 15 points at third quarter? What's wrong with you, dude? What's wrong with you? Okay, CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike as a trade for tomorrow. So you see how that level basically got rejected. That 242 area basically got rejected. Today's high is 244. So in my opinion, anywhere from 242 to 244.50s, which is today's high, could get sold off again. Okay, so this one, blue. As for supports, I mean, you can kind of rely on the earnings anchored VWAP, I guess, near 230, near 232, 233 or so. Where's the earnings anchored VWAP right now? 233. That's where earnings anchored VWAP is. It's a little bit far away from where the stock is, obviously, but I'm only interested to see what happens in that price point. Workday probably dying down on volume pretty drastically. What does the stock look like on the daily chart? It actually doesn't look too bad. So maybe we can kind of set an alert to see what happens on the break above of 274. If we do get above 274, that opens up quite a bit of a good wiggle room on this position, actually. Right back into that 280 area, which we could see some walls coming in. So Workday 274. 272 to 274, I guess. Kind of wait and see what happens. Could get a break long into 280s or a reject short. This one stays on the white chart and the lower volume price. Not really too interested to see the stock do anything right off the open. Might just have to wait for the stock to set up, show us a pattern, and so on. Foot Locker still not at that price where we have our alert at near $32. So we're just gonna be patient. Be patient. Was it at 32? Yeah, $32 is where we're waiting for the stock. Still being patient to see what happens at 32 for Foot Locker. Shopify has that beautiful range from $71 all the way into $74.50 / $75.50. So Shopify pushed right back into that $71 low today and held pretty much cleanly. I guess it didn't do much, but held $71 one more time to give us a possible look for long tomorrow. Anytime the stock opens up in these lows, it basically pops up. And if we finally break this area after consolidating so long in here, that could open up some short side room down to 67 or so on Shopify. So look out for that trade. Holding under 71 shorts, holding above 71 longs. And over here, we want to put down again 74.50 to 75, basically. And then that high right there is what, 75.50? Basically. Okay, next stock up on board, Spotify. Obviously had a catalyst so that it was taking down 17% of its workforce. That made the stock pop up, but now losing volume, kind of stuck in a range. I'm not too interested to make a trade on this stock while it's stuck in this range. We're going to probably see a couple more days where the stock is stuck in the same prices, but eventually, if once it breaks out of these prices, we can kind of put it on the watch list. I'm just not even going to put any notes for this one because I know it's just going to be stuck in it. And because of my crystal ball mentality that I have right now for that stock, watch it actually do what I'm not expecting it to do and make me regret not putting some notes and putting some levels over there for myself. Affirm 41 being that absolute wall, gave you that head and shoulders trade today after 41. Today's high of 42. 42. To keep in mind, we also have possible supports in the lower end of these ranges, somewhere into $36.50, $36. So let's just say 36 to 36.50. The 9-period SMA on the daily chart is currently at 34.50s, where the move basically started from. I don't think the stock goes all the way back down there. I think we got something around 36 to possibly look for supports if the stock is going down. So look for that. Expecting stock to reject 41. But if stock above 41, stay away from shorts. Expecting stock to hold 36, but if stock under 36, can look for a short into 34. I think this one is actually a little bit of a higher priority. It's not blue nor white. It goes into the orange basket because a firm has been doing a little bit of a crazy move recently. So we'll take that one. Net pretty much stuck in this range. That's 76 to 81. Don't even need to take a look at the prices. I've been talking about these prices for so long now on this stock that we just have to, it probably does not even belong in the blue scale, but we're just going to leave it in that blue because I think one of these days the price is going to be right, or at least the price is going to come into play on that position. I just said the price is going to be right because it felt like that's the right thing to say at that moment. I don't know why. Anyways, Square. Next up on board, Square 65. We talked about this yesterday. Forgot to make a trade on this one. We even had it in our notes. Look at that. We even had it in our notes. We even had it as a blue mark. But my laziness got me. I did not look at Square all day. I said, I made my money. I'm walking away from the market. Close shop. Let's see what time did Square break out of 65. It actually did it off the open. So you know what? I probably would not have caught it anyways because Square was on the blue basket. It wasn't as a high priority list of stocks. But quickly taking a look at the stock, it clearly was in play. A high R wall off the open. You can see how the stock did much more volume on the opening 5-minute than it did yesterday or the day before that 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 or the day before that. I mean, do you want me to keep scrolling out? Right? You can see how this white line on the screen, I'm just going to move that white line a little bit. You can see how that white line is kind of pretty much marking the highs of every single day for the opening 5-minute volume. But today's opening 5-minute volume, insane, monster volume. That kind of gives you an indication to, hey, maybe the stock is actually in play today and maybe it's going to break out. That is something we want to look for. Now that I'm realizing this, that is kind of what we want to look for to see if stocks like Spotify, stocks like Spotify, stocks like Shopify are in play or not in play for that breakout. So if you're seeing that opening 5-minute volume being much relatively high, that shows you the stock has RVol. You can even use other things such as RVol scanners and RVol tools. Trade Ideas gives you RVol. It shows you what the stock is relatively doing volume now compared to the past. And S&B Capital talks about how having a stock which is doing at least 3 or more RVol obviously is in play, and you kind of want to look at those positions. So looking at Square bringing in that volume right off the open, breaking out of that 65 and actually holding 67. Why am I saying 65? Holding 67. Wait. No, 65 was the level I'm talking about, Prad. Yeah. 65 was the level I'm talking about. We actually didn't even get that price off the open, so never mind, because the stock opened above 65. It opened up near $66 and just made a run towards 67. So there was no breakout of 65. You had to kind of just trade the stock off the open and get the long, kind of risk that move into 65 as your risk, and your reward was obviously to the high side, whatever it gave you, and it gave you a lot. It gave you a big move to the north side. It is currently holding that 67 as support, so I'm actually going to mark down 67 as support. The next level of support is going to be 65, and now the resistance is no longer 67 for me because we closed above 67 and we held above 67. So now the resistance is going to be somewhere above 70. So 70 to 70.50. Oh my god, I can't type. 70 to 70.50 is a level that I kind of want to keep an eye out for. Comes from right those prices. We were kind of in that price today. The next area of interest would be that double bottom, and then the next area of interest would be kind of this double top. There we go. So we have some prices over here to kind of map out. 70, if stock can hold 67, get long. If stock cannot hold 67, doesn't mean get short. Wait for 65 to get long. If stock can hold 70, get long. If stock cannot hold 70/70.50, get short. And this one, you guessed it, goes in the orange basket, because today's move, in my opinion, counts as a day 1 move, and tomorrow you guys know how the chapter 8 book comes into play for a day 2 play, day 3 play, day 4 play, and so on. However, if you kind of put the brakes on that mentality a little bit, look at today's volume. Today's volume does not indicate any sort of a day 1 move. Today's price indicates a day 1 move, sure, but today's volume does not indicate a day 1 move. That's something to keep in mind right off the rip. Palantir, do we even have to say it? I guess my expressions, my face, my vocal patterns kind of told you exactly what I feel about on Palantir. Right back into $17. And being a long-term investor on Palantir, not exciting to see this price point coming into play. Overall, though, we've seen how 19 has played out. 19 was acting as a big support before it broke out. 18 was acting as a big support before it broke out. Now we're back into 17, and we've traded the $17, $16 areas a lot on Palantir. So wait and see if 17 can hold. If 17 holds, good long ops here. If 17 can hold, good long opportunities on Palantir, and we're going to put it on the blue basket. However, I do think Palantir needs to be turned into an orange trade tomorrow. As we dip into 17, it might just bring in a big amount of volume and buying activity for us to get into. I'm just making shit up right now. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm kind of just rubbing my own balls over here to make up this theory. So don't trade just solely off of that theory, okay? Don't just trade solely off of that theory. Whew, an hour and a half into the stream, and we're almost at the end of the watch list. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Let's take a quick little break over here and take a look at what the chat's talking about, because I've kind of had to ignore you guys today. There was a lot of positions for us to go through. So let's see what the chat has been talking about. Sadly, no one watches my stream, so there's not a lot of chat going on. Let's see. Josh, lots of people take profits. Been a nice run. Yeah, that's true. Profits are being taken. Watching that US oil tomorrow. My XLU moved up. Okay, XLU, USO, oil trades, crude oil futures. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. Still here to talk about how you made money on PFE short while I made money going long. I mean, that's just the market, Momo. That's just the market. There's people can make money long side, people can make money short side, and people can make money both directions on the stock at the same time somehow. It just happens. It's the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. That's the beauty about it. I'm glad you had a good long on PFE on that earnings day, and I had a good short on PFE on that earnings day. I did not know you had a dying bear in your house. I had a dying bear in my house? Oh, you're talking about the Chewbacca noises? Right. Setting up my watch list for tomorrow, says John. Let's go, John. I'm glad that, I'm here to kind of be that noise in the background. I know one of my managers said that he kind of leaves my streams on in the background. I'm just the noise in the back while he's charting. I know a lot of you guys are probably doing that, so I appreciate it. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, appreciate you guys giving me that like count or the view count. But I would love it if you guys also hit that like button and that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. I'm trying to grow the channel over here. It's kind of dying down a little bit. I'm putting in work, but I would like your guys' help with it. Thank you for everyone who keep doing it. All 16 people who have smashed the like button today. Thank you. Means the world to me, ladies and gentlemen. I miss Prad's personality on the other show. Let me tell you what, Prad's personality doesn't miss the other show. I'll tell you that with 100% guarantee. My life has changed for the better. I'm trading better. I'm thinking better. I'm feeling better. Less toxicity. I don't have to be fed bullshit lies by some people, and I don't have to, dream about nonsense and be. Anyways, we're getting too deep over here. I don't need to bring in my personal drama on the stream. Anyways, the point is, I'm so glad that thing is over. I'm so glad that thing is over. That era brought in a lot of good experience, a lot of great friends, amazing friends. But I'm glad that thing is over. That story is wrapped up. That chapter is closed. And we're in a new chapter here, baby. Writing a new chapter, writing our own book, writing our own pages, and not letting someone else dictate what's to be written in those pages. That's the story, baby. That's the story. Still swinging my boomer stocks. Boomer stocks are being swung every single day. You know it. I mean, boomer stocks might not move, but they give you great opportunities. They give you cleaner opportunities. That's why I go to them. I go to boomer stocks because of those easier opportunities, not having to worry about all the headache. For example, Uber on that day one of S&P 500 adding catalyst was a lot crazier than Path. Path actually gave you a much cleaner trade than Uber. However, both of them gave you opportunities to make money if you were looking for it. Tell your manager that you know someone that makes money off of trading swing trades and day trades off of Ford. My manager doesn't care. Let me tell you that. He does not give a shit. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care what you do. He doesn't care if you're making money. He only cares what he cares about. 100%. Once you get 30 plus possible trades, it's okay to shove off. 30 plus possible trades? I'm not sure what you mean by that. All right, gotta check out. Good luck to the 8 other folks here and Prad. Hey, thank you, brother. Yeah, only 8 people watching me now. That's sad. Good luck to everybody, John. Obviously, thank you for watching, and see you next time, Johnny boy. Josh, good luck. Talk to you later. Says Josh. Josh is heading out. Thanks, Prad. Subscribers up 3. Let's go. Okay, I like that. However, the stream is not over and everyone's heading out already. Ooh, did not mean to do that. Everyone's heading out already. So we'll kind of start wrapping up over here, I guess, because people feel like the show's over. Last few stocks, ladies and gentlemen. Coinbase, Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. You guys know how that market's moving around. It's still in the higher end of the ranges. Coinbase got sold off for some reason into the later end of the day. So that was a little drastic. So I'm excited to see how Coinbase plays out tomorrow, if there is any supports to come into around these levels that we have mapped out around 130 or so, or some bigger moves. I'm expecting if Coinbase pulled back down, maybe Mara and Riot did too. Mara and Riot actually didn't pull back as hard as Coinbase did, so maybe something specifically to Coinbase that brought down the stock, because Mara and Riot still above good levels over here to look for some longs. Riot's got that beautiful 1450 area. Beautiful 1450 support, and then you can just look for that support to hold and look for that long. And for Mara, this one's a little choppy. This one's a little too choppy for me. The next few stocks over here, the large cap stocks, these ones are kind of not really too much in play for me. You guys know how I feel about these positions when the market's not really giving you a big breakout. Right now, the market's just stuck in a little bit of a range. So until the market breaks out of this range, I'm not really too excited. However, that being said, because the market's stuck in such a high price point range, it is giving you a little bit of volatility and decent trades on the large cap stocks if you are looking for them. However, I think you're not trading the right stocks if you are trading stocks like Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, and so on. There's way better stocks at the moment with a lot more liquidity and a lot more volatility. 2 of the main things that a day trader needs. So if you are trading stocks like Nvidia, Tesla, then you're doing a big disservice for yourself, in my opinion, because stocks like, for example, Square today, a clean, clear-cut long. Stocks like what was the trade that I had today for the long side? I'm trying to think. Sentinel clear cut long. Not a lot of headache for the long side and just a beautiful move up north. So there are other cleaner trades where you don't need to fight the algorithms such as JP Morgan algos or the Goldman Sachs algos, and just focus on the clean, clear-cut moves where the hedge funds are buying or the institutional funds are buying. And that's why these stocks that we kind of put on a different color are always way more important to us than any of these large cap stocks, because they're not in play. They don't have a catalyst. Hopefully, I've hammered that point enough to you guys. But if you feel like trading that, feel free, go ahead and enjoy that opportunity the large cap markets have to offer to you. That, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our wonderful watch list for the day. The next part over here is what is going on with the economic calendar. So the economic calendar coming up for tomorrow, not looking that busy, so it's decent. We do have an initial jobless claims coming out at 8:30. That could help the market pick a direction, but then after that, it kind of just dies off. 11:30, we have Atlanta Fed GDP. Didn't we already have that yesterday? Or sorry, today? Yeah, we had that today already at 11:30, and you're coming out with that again at 11:30? Not sure how that works, but anyways, the most important one being the initial jobless claims at 8:30. That's the most important time period that you want to keep an eye out for if you are trading, because that could move the market drastically if the numbers come out a little bit surprising. So be careful for that one. We also mentioned that the next FOMC date was 13th of December. They're expecting a 99% probability of a pause, a rate hike pause continued, not an increase, so rate pause continued. So let's wait and see what happens. We'll talk more in depth about this one next week, Monday. But make sure you come back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, because tomorrow we got Broadcom, Lululemon, DocuSign, and all the damn stocks that we talked about today along with that. So don't go anywhere. Come back tomorrow. All my social media links, if you are not following me already, are straight down below in the description, along with all of my affiliate sponsors and the customized discount code that you can use to get 15% off. So do go check them out if you haven't already. Once again, tomorrow, 8 o'clock for the last stream of the week. Have a great night. Have an even better trading day tomorrow. And see y'all at 8 o'clock. Peace. Good night.